Welcome, good evening to our random bonus episode of, actually it's not, it's just any night I could squeeze in comics and cocktails, that's it. Although no one has a cocktail tonight. It was a very bad Friday. Brother John Comics is here as my guest. Brother John, how are you?
I appreciate you having me, Cliff.
I appreciate you being here.
I have to publicly apologize. I'm not a very good guest.
Why on earth would you say you're not a good guest?
Oh, I'm not prepared. I gave you on another stream, I think I gave you some grief about how you've had so many episodes of different things and you haven't had me on. And then I'm just not prepared. And I'll be honest with you. Part of my unpreparedness is I don't really watch this show.
One nerve of you.
I know. I've watched a few, and there's a lot of Marvel talk, and then I just kind of doze off when that happens. I watched John's episode because I liked watching him slowly get pickled, as he drank more and more, and it was fun to see that little side of John. So that was I watched that episode, and I was like, I'm trying to nail down what the format is here. And I like that it's just a little all over the place. That's my style. It is
a little all over the place. But in case you're wondering, the actual format goes... and then, of course, a little bit of...
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I forgot in between. And then we end it with you.
Yeah.
And there you have it, sir.
There you go. I'm going to, that last 5-finger shuffle, that's just going to be random 5 books that I can reach over here next to my desk.
That's fantastic.
No, my family is out of town this weekend, so I'm running on my own. So I've actually.
So now you're a danger to yourself. And
I've been trying to organize. I've been trying to organize my mess so there's comics everywhere, and so I am mid adjustment, but I think we're gonna have a good time because I'm just happy to hang out with you.
And I'm happy to hang out with you as well, as unprepared as you just admitted to being in front of our live audience.
Yep.
But thanks to our good friends, the audience. I do have one announcement. Yes, shrinking is amazing. I can understand why.
John it's you guys out. Such a great show. I don't know if John. I don't know if you saw. At Year's End when Mark did that for his usual Sunday night, he did At Year's End, and Shrinking was my number one pick TV for the year. Nobody else had watched it, but
I did.
On the panel, I meant.
Wasn't I there at Year's End?
And you'd watched it? I thought you hadn't finished.
I told you I love Harrison Ford in there.
Okay, I thought you hadn't finished season 2.
Oh, I have. Maybe that is true. That I hadn't finished season 2. I'm like, but I've watched the show.
Yeah, that's right. You were on the show. I forgot. You called me out on my Green Lantern pick. You're like, technically, it was the year before. It started in 2023, and I was like, okay. Still better than everything. Still better than everything.
Only have people on with a 5,000 viewer count and higher. I invited you.
I know it's just 1,000 at least. It's got to at least have 1,000, maybe 500. But you're bucking that trend.
I cover a whole gambit of people. Good evening. Oh, Mark Spector. God bless you, man. And your brother, Digger Jim. Love it.
I had to text him and remind him. And say, hey, come hang out.
It is. That's and Matt Meals for Hire, thank you so much. All right, so at the end of the month,
at the end of the month.
Which will be the 31st. I'm going to do a members giveaway. So for my members, we've got Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones, number 4, pink variant, because I was in the mood for pink.
That's a dope cover.
The first, and these are something special. The first 3 Marvel Rival variants. The Lee Bermejo Wolverine.
Is that the Marvel Rivals? Is that related to the game?
Yes. Well, no, the covers are. That's all.
Yeah. That's
Yes, related to the game. People
I
are obsessed with that game.
Yeah, they are.
And it's gonna hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and New Gods number 1, cover B.
Nice.
And New Gods number 2, the acetate cover.
Oh, that's fire. That's a dope little giveaway there. You got some.
This is for the member. Oh wait, and wait, is that? All right, and also for my members giveaway, legacy issue of Incredible Hulk 802 with this beautiful homage cover for the new movie that's coming out. I'm sorry, I marveled you. You.
Everybody knows that cover, that it's spoofing, that it's homaging. So, and that's fire. Well, actually, not last year because I wasn't there, but the year before at Heroes Con, the original cover that uses that kind of motif. Dicker Jim and I were on a hunt for that because he wanted it. He got a good deal on it.
I hope he did.
Last
Lord
day
knows,
we found it.
Lord knows I have not found a good deal on that. And then for my what is it? For my subscriber giveaway. And so and then for the subscribers, for everybody else, I have these 5 comics. The latest issue of Spirit of Vengeance with the Ghost Rider 2099 cover. Another Lee Bermejo cover. And 3 Artgerm covers.
Oh, dang. Look, it's going big. Going big with the giveaways.
Well, it's my first one, so I want to,
Who do you think you are? Sector 2815? That guy gives away some nuts.
Does that make me problematic? Hi, Dave. You did make it. And hello, Kevin. Hello.
We should all be more like Paul in any way we can. That's
DJ.
DJ Wise.
I'm so happy to see all of you here. All right, so let's start with a little getting to know you segment, and we'll start with the Legion and the Legion superheroes, and how did you fall in love with them?
It was like I said. I was telling you a little earlier. This issue back here. I don't know if you can see it. It's 212, but you know it well. It's
I do.
But growing up, Jim and I had a set of 3 boys that lived next door to us that were a good bit older than us, and they had collected comics for a while, and they just gave us a bunch of their old ones. And that's the first one I remember that was in that pile that they gave us that just locked in for me. I was probably too young at the time, like Jim probably had to read it to me. But once we got through there and I saw a Matter Eater lad biting into a flagpole, I was like, this is just weird, and I love it. And so, just been hooked ever since, and got a bunch of them, and then, got this all the way up 300, signed by Keith Geffen. 301.
Wait, hold that 300 up again.
Sorry about the glare, but it's a little blurry. He signed it right up here. Oh, that's 301.
Yeah.
Yep. This is, right here. You can barely see it in silver.
I can see it. I don't know why your camera's betraying you, but I understand.
I don't either. But Jim got that for me like when it came out. There was a small con here in Richmond that Keith Geffen came to, and he got that signed for me, and he got like Omega Men #1 and got this cool little Omega Men #1 postcard deal. But I was just kind of hooked in with the Legion since then. I like team books. I like the group dynamic. I like all the colorful costumes and so forth. And then even like when I hit that age where I just stopped collecting comics, when I got back into it, I met, kind of this cool online community back then that was all through like message boards and chat rooms and, stuff like that. And there was one guy that I would meet and that just loved the Legion. And he was there on the message boards over at Comic Book Resources and the chat room and so forth. And then I found out he lived right here where I live. So we met each other in person and got to know each other. And he was a huge Legion fan. And so we kind of bonded over that, and it kind of reignited how much I love them. But it's always been team books like that, and especially when you have that younger dynamic. The New Teen Titans was my big book growing up, that we
which
would have
is
to
funny
go.
because New Teen Titans was so big.
Oh yeah. And I remember there was a drugstore up the street from us, and Jim and I would walk up there just about every week and see what was on the spinner rack. And I can remember getting the first Teen Titans when it came out and just being like, I dig this. And just going back every month, make sure we got it off the rack. And it was awesome. It was a great time because there was a gentleman that was the pharmacist and owned the pharmacy drugstore right there up the street from us that went to our church. He owned it. So even when we were little, we'd go in there if we were sick. Our mom would take us in there to get us that nasty pink medicine, antibiotic. He would go ahead and go over there and get you a couple comics off the rack so you can read while you're laid up. So, he was our dealer, so to speak, and pretty locked in. And that Teen Titans time frame was, around that same time when the Claremont and Byrne X-Men were rocking so hard. So Jim was picking those up, and we were picking up Avengers and all of that stuff. So we were just getting everything we could afford, which wasn't much when you're that age, but we did our best.
And yet was still a lot more than now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
David, thank you for joining and becoming a channel member, which of course will now enter you for all those books I showed up moments ago.
Nice.
As well as helping me support the Hyde Park Food Pantry, which is where which is down the road from where I work. I was just there today. It's really lovely. Also,
that's awesome.
Tony, thank you as well. I don't think he's in the chat at the moment, but he subbed off of this video, and so therefore this video is like surprise. So good to know. And I'm gonna use that moment.
Tony's a good guy.
Tony's great. All right, so first I want you to answer Dave's question. If you like Legion, does that mean you translate to an X-Men fan too? In my case, that was true. Was it any case for you? Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The Cockremere and then the Byrne, like I said, the Claremont Byrne. Jim and I collected all of those. We didn't have any kind of separation. It's not like now when we're, somebody's, are stayed away. So he's got half the books and he's got all the good books and he left me all the other stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
But that whole run.
Do you ever do a comic swap together?
He every once in a while he'll bring me, different ones and switch them out. But like he'll hold on to anything he knows that is like a big key or worth anything. He's going to hold on to that. And it's not that he particularly doesn't want me to have them or anything like that. He knows he'll take better care of them, and he will. He's 100% correct in that. So
that's fantastic.
Like you'll like half of this stuff I got. I don't have bags and boards for all my stuff. It's just I want it to be easy.
I forgot. I have videos. All right, so this one is going to be for Tony for his membership. I'm so sorry. And this one is my thank you to Dave.
That's nice.
I gotta listen. I need my gratuitous men. Brian LCS, welcome. Hey. Thank you for showing up. All right. While I am here, I also want to. I've really been bad about this one, trying to do it right. So here we go. Shout out to channel members. Old Wolf, who was the last one I saw join, and let's, of course, now welcome, still only 35 cents, Mr. Spock, Wayne Deacon, Hello Humans, Pokey and Joe Comic Review, Jean Mallow, or Jean Mallow, Heroes for Hire Comic Book Club, 23 Munch, Chris the Comic Vet, Taylor Winder, KBDM, Mama Bear Doll, Mark Spector Comics, 1063 Comics, Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics, I appreciate you. Wellbore, Ben Compton, 2 Megatherion, Stixboy 73, Comiverse, Omnibo, The Council of Comics, Anachronic Comics, Mad Spidey, DJ Lynx, Scotty Vaughn 82, Ryan LCS, Dr. Von Hoots, Comics from the Spiral Dimension. He used up everything I had left in that slide. Oh no, where's my overlays?
That's pretty cool. That's a good, like, you just fairly recently did this, right? And that's a nice crew. And I like seeing names on there that I've never seen. Like I gotta find Stixboy, whatever number that was, if it's the band, because that was my jam growing up.
I believe that has to do with the band, and also he is part of the Renovision crew, so you can find him over there.
All right. That was when I was in high school, that was our obsession.
That's so cute. I'm never going to be known for subtle. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Rob's is pretty long too.
No need to be subtle. That's I don't want to get out of order or anything if we're going to have story time or anything like that. But that's my big draw to you, Cliffy. I felt like from the get-go, I just felt like a connection to you just because you're so, not that other people aren't, you're just authentic. There's no pretense about you. I was like, man, look, this guy, what you see is what you get, and it is just real. And I love that. And like, subtle, don't be subtle. Just be you, my man, because that's the best part.
I mean, I'm a version of me. Actually, I'm very authentic, but I've had to learn to pace myself.
Sure.
On the online community.
Yeah, well, in the real world too, we have to do that. We have to kind of temper ourselves to be able to function with others at their pace or their speed of digestion of. But I just, like I said, I don't know, man. I'd say I like meeting new people in this community, and you're not new to this community. You've been around a long time, but you're new to me in terms of the last year or so.
Clearly I had to make a splash.
Yeah. And it just, I've been very, very happy to see you as part of this community and get to know you. And I'm excited about all the things you're doing. So don't be subtle. You be you all the time.
I'm going to remember that when I eventually publish my comic. I'm publishing my comic. It's going to happen.
You got this.
I'm probably going to have to create all new characters because I can't deal with the public domain crap, but it's going to happen. Woo!
You can do that.
All right. So, let's see if we have any more questions. Oh, Joe joined us. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for coming in. Joe is also a channel member, so thank you very much. All right. Let's do a. No, not Windows pop-up. All right. So, comic of the week.
Comic of the week.
Yeah, I'm like a little bit torn, but no, I am a little bit torn, but I kind of I'm shamelessly ready. I'm shamelessly ready to give it to New Gods #2. I'm really
I haven't read
loving
that yet, but that's a great. I love that cover. I have it over here. It's it's over there on the couch in my to read pile. And that's I'm assuming that's a good pick. I went ahead and read Challengers.
Challengers was good. Challengers was very good.
Yeah, so that's my pick just because that's the one I've read so far. But I'm just absolutely loving the all-in side of DC and how they seem to just be spidering everything off of that Justice League Unlimited. Like I feel like all of these books, Challengers, The Question, even New Gods to an extent, is touching, they're kind of all interlocking with the whole DC universe.
Very much. Especially because of the lack of dark side.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if it's like Mark Waid's kind of orchestrating or kind of pushing all of that, but shout out to their editorial group that is keeping track of all of that and making sure, things stay kind of continuity wise and in flow.
Yes,
but I'm really digging all of the titles that they're kind of running off of that. So that's why Challengers would be my pick, but I would say it's probably going to be New Gods. Sorry about the train coming through. It's probably going to be New Gods. I put them in order and usually like read what I think is going to be my favorite one last. That's why I haven't read New Gods yet. So it's probably going to be the last one I read later tonight. And I just think that covers fire.
I mean, it really is. It really is. So, all right, still 35 cents. Is Mr. Miracle actually a new god? He is.
He is.
He is.
He is indeed. Scott Free is an actual new god.
All right, let's talk about Legion costumes, which means I'm going to have to present again.
Those beautiful, you want those Cockrum or the super kinky Grell costumes?
Well, it's both, right? Because like it goes, it goes transitions from one into the next.
Yeah, I feel like Grell tried to kind of one up Dave Cockrum. It's like he got there and he was like, okay. Let's remember. Let's remember that it was Cockrum that quit. So right. Cockrum quit, and they had just hired Mike Grell. Yeah.
So, and this is definitely a Mike Grell cover. So yes, like Phantom Boy. Is that Phantom Boy or Phantom Lad?
Where are you at? The purple guy?
No. The white outfit.
I don't see the white outfit on the picture you're holding.
The guy. No, her word bubble.
Oh yes. Oh, the words are cutting him off there. Yeah. I believe that is correct.
That would be. He is Phantom Lad. Oh, great! Now I can't use that freaking name. All right, awesome. So that's Phantom Lad, and these are the Legion of Super Rejects. So the girl speaking, that is
they like being called that.
Well, they chose that name. So she's Calorie Queen because like Matter Eater Lad, she can eat anything, but she can turn it into energy.
Yep.
Like to use super strength or being vulnerable. Chameleon Kid who can shapeshift like Chameleon Boy. Esperlast. What the heck did Esperlast do?
She was like Saturn Girl. She had ESP.
Right. She had the thing. Magnolad, who was also a Magno Ball champion like Cosmic Boy. A
Magno Ball champion. I love that.
Micro Lad who could shrink like Shrinking Violet, and Phantom Lad who could phase just like Phantom Girl. I love I love the expression on Superboy. It's thirsty. It kind of is. He's more appalled that his friends are strewn out on the ground there.
Right.
You know, but like, I love that they have a battle royale and they're like, Superboy is not allowed to intervene, and they get their ass kicked the first round, and they do it one more time, and then of course the Legion members are like, we can do this, and they just switch battle partners, and like that's how they win.
Right, which feels like a little bit of a cheat, right? It's like,
well, they couldn't get help from Superboy, and the task was they have to defeat them.
Like, I'm gonna prove I'm a better Magnabile champion. No, I'm gonna switch off, and now you gotta.
Now, if I remember correctly, the only one of them who does not remain a villain is Magnolad.
Yeah, he kind of doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like, you know, they didn't want us, and then we lost, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's the way it is. And they were all, but the rest of them were still big mad.
Yeah, and they're like, we're joining the Legion of Super Villains. Oh wait, Magnolia.
Yeah, we'll start our own group. It's like, well, why didn't you do that to start with then? Just get out of here. Why you got to be destroying property and fighting with everybody?
Magnolad was there, and he was there on the assault of Orandu, which means he was there for the death of Karate Kid.
Dang it.
Yeah,
this is that. This is that era. This is the original one. I don't know if you can see, but this is the original one that we got from the neighbors next door, and this cover is barely hanging on. You can see the
wear and tear
and so forth. So this other one, Jim got me a nice copy. I'm telling you, man, my brother's the best. He spoils me rotten, you know, but he's good boy. But you know, I like Grell came in and he had to add up these, you know, that outfit there. Come on.
Yep.
He had to get these things.
Look, he got those sexy outfits in, man. He knew.
I love it.
He was channeling some BDSM, but it was working.
Yeah. I got this. Got this at a con. I had the book, but Grell signed that one there.
Nice. Is that the introduction of Tyrock?
It is. And then this one here is First Dawn Star. He signed that one. So, and I got a whole bunch of Legion. These are all my older ones in here, and then I have whole nother box down there. But love that stuff. Love the crazy costumes. I even liked when Cosmic Boy had when the pink went away and Grell just had him walking around in that little black corset thing. I was like, I'm down for that. Let's get as wild as we want, man.
They were going.
I just liked how, like I said, things just got weird, and they would, they would just keep going with it. Like like the whole RJ Brand being the president, and then he's actually Chameleon Boy's father.
Yes.
He's a Durlin as well. It's like it's like they would just like not afraid to go anywhere. It's like, let's just get soap opera with it, but still have some, bad.
Yeah, they were just like, they were like, actually that was a big deal, was the soap opera, right?
Yeah.
Because that really added some flair to it. Why can I not find a decent picture?
And the whole Princess Projectra.
Oh, I love that whole storyline.
Me too. What are you looking for a picture of?
My introduction to the Legion of Superheroes. So it is. There we go. And back to. So Superman versus Superboy. So the first issue I pick up is Superman number 8, right? And then Action Comics number 591, which of course is them. So Action Comics 591, I could find it nowhere, right? I got my copy of Action 591 in Canada at the Silver Snap. Yeah. And then it would still be several years until I'm at a signing for Scott Liddell, where I see the Legion 38 on the wall, and Legion 37 was in the box of that store. And I was finally able to complete that series.
That's dope. So that was in Canada though that you saw that, or is that
in Canada I found Action 591. I bought right off the comic rack at the local supermarket. I got Superman #8.
Nice.
So this was crazy to me because I was like, how am I going to get this? And worse yet, Legion in that format was never sold. In the on the comic rack, you had to get that from a comic book store.
From a store,
yeah. So that was a big struggle for me to find those issues. Because it wasn't common to go to the comic book store, and then when I was going to comic book stores, it was usually ones that didn't have these issues.
Yeah, it's hard. They were hard to find around here too. We used to go on vacation when I was a kid down to South Carolina, and there was a book exchange down there, and you could literally take in comics, our mother's novels that she read or different things like that and exchange it. And they oddly had a very large selection of Legion books that somebody had brought in and so forth. So we picked through those, and any of these older ones that we have, that's where we got most of them. It's going through that.
I love it. It's so funny because even in I guess it's the Baxter era because it was printed on Baxter stock, right?
Right.
So was New Teen Titans. So you could only start reading those adventures in Tales of Teen Titans and Tales of the Legion of Superheroes. Which then of course both were discontinued. Kenneth Bird, welcome tonight. How are you? Very good, sir. But yeah, so I'm introduced to the Legion through this, and not knowing the history of John Byrne. The only thing is I was learning about John Byrne literally as I was reading Superman, because I read Man of Steel #1, and I read his thing about Superman in the back, and I was like, oh wow, and I became a little enthralled with him. And later I would learn about him on X-Men, him on Fantastic Four, that this cover is a tribute to his Fantastic Four cover, etc. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, his FF run is epic. It's really, there's problems I sometimes have with Byrne, but not with his Fantastic Four. He
knocked that one out of the park.
Yeah, probably when I'm not. In terms of being consistent too, it's just consistently good. So if you haven't read much of that or any of that, try to find. Not too expensive, I wouldn't think, but
most of them are. There's a couple of ones that are a little hefty, like the Terrax ones.
Yeah.
He did some really great stuff.
Oh yeah, my brother is a big Byrne fan.
And She-Hulk.
Yeah, and I thought that was a fun little run. I thought he did a good job with that book.
He definitely did. Definitely did.
Yeah, Jim is a big Byrne fan. He used to. I remember when we were younger, he had the Out of My Head. I don't know if you've ever seen the John Byrne Out of My Head book, and it's just basically a lot of his art, but it's the cover's like the drawing of him, and it's like the side of his head is exploding, and like all of these characters are coming out of the explosion, and it's an art book, and it's beautiful, and it just has a lot of his cool stuff in there.
I vaguely recall that cover being a little traumatizing for me.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was interesting to say the least. Yep, I do like that. That as soon as you opened it, there was a Superman, so that made me feel all warm.
Right on. Yep. Jim's always been an art guy, and I've always been a writer. Writer guy. That's been.
And I'm somewhere in the middle.
I can suffer through some poor art for good, good writing, and or even I can get used to art that's not my normal style. Like this X Factor run of Peter David's. Yeah. No. This is Larry Stroman and Al Milgrom. Yeah.
Oh, I love Al Milgrom, but Stroman took some getting used to.
Larry Stroman and Al. Yeah, it took a little bit getting used to, and then eventually the writing was so good I stuck with it, and then I couldn't imagine this style of art matches the storytelling so perfect that it's like I couldn't imagine anything else. But it wouldn't be a cover or art style that I would see in the store and go, "Ooh, I gotta have that." That's it just Peter David is what made me pick that book up. And then I eventually just came around and fell in love with the art style because I saw how much it matched what was being done with the storytelling. So that's more my kind of thing. I don't know enough about art and to really evaluate or understand what's good. I can say, "Ooh, that's pretty." or I don't think that's pretty, but never been very visually in tune to what's good and what's bad. So I've always had to rely on Jim for that to kind of guide me in the right direction.
Well,
I mean, there's some things that are no brainers. Alex Ross. Yeah. Okay. That's great. You don't have to tell me anything.
I once lived by a train track and it was just unnerving, the first month that we lived there.
It's just like because I'm right by the window, but it is literally, I mean, I could step right out here and throw a baseball at it as it went by. That's how close it is. So it's not, and I'm an old man. I can't throw a baseball really far or anything. It's right there. So, but you get used to it. We've been here so long, I'm used to it. But like when I'm on a call for work, they tell me all the time, "How do you deal with that?" It's like,
you just do. You get used to it.
I barely notice it. When I'm day to day, it's when I'm doing something like this, I don't want it to bother other people, so I try to catch the mute button.
So it's so funny because Still 35 Cents says, "I wish John Byrne was a nicer human nowadays," and he's like, "Peter David is so underrated," which I agree, but also Peter David I wish was a nicer human being as well.
Sure, and it's all of them.
It's not all of them, but
it is. Well, to some extent, from that era, times were different, and they were, during that time of their heyday, they were as progressive as progressives could be. But then they got older and it's like, hey, wait a minute, people are still progressing and they're still kind of trapped in their old ways. I'm not making excuses. They've all of those guys, that Peter David, John Byrne, they've said and held some horrible opinions. But and I don't know, I'll show it later, but like we'll get into this book when I do my 5, I think probably Starman.
Oh, James Robinson, Starman.
Yeah, and Tony Harris, he had a big problematic rant that he went on a while back, and it's like, does it, like I was like, I'm not going to let that diminish my enjoyment of how gorgeous I think these covers are, so it's kind of hard. It's like you said, it's just, hopefully they learn from it and you wish that they were better human beings. But
I think a couple of them make an effort, but those two guys, I've seen no effort,
Well,
and,
Peter David's just hanging on for dear life. He is not well. But Byrne, I think part of Byrne's problem is that he kind of revolutionized a lot of things in comics, and he doesn't necessarily get the credit as much as some of these other folks do. like a Neil Adams or all of that. And I think part of what he doesn't realize is that Neil Adams and some of those other folks, the Ramitas and all of those, they knew how to play the game. They were nice people. On top of being extremely talented, they were nice people. Byrne, just had no problem being cranky and believing that he was a genius, and he just holds on to that.
Yeah, listen, as people evolve, it gets to the point of we don't care how much of a genius. We want to be able to work with someone who doesn't piss us off all the time.
100%, exactly. It's like if you can't collaborate, this is a collaborative medium. If you can't collaborate, and you're not, you were a revolutionary, but you're not anymore. So we got to move on, So,
yeah, I mean, for me, the end of him was when he did his run on Justice League and introduced Faith. And I was like, this is terrible. This is such a terrible story. It just I wasn't enjoying the art. I wasn't enjoying the story. I wasn't enjoying anything. And I was like, oh my God, what are you doing, John Byrne?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know that I picked that, picked up his run, like his part of that. But, yeah. And I mean, he's still going, right? He's still doing, is he still publishing his Next Men stuff? And I read something that was like one of the longest running independent books because he was still sporadically putting it out, but I hadn't kept up.
That may be true.
I don't know.
I know Savage Dragon is one of them because... Yes. Eric Larson's like, I age my characters in real time, and I keep it going.
Yeah. I think Byrne is hurt by not doing any of the conventions anymore, but I think he burnt so many bridges and was so cantankerous that people were like, nobody wants to come see you anyway, man. So he's not making any money off the con circuit, So I don't know how he's getting by. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, where that? I don't know if he's still. I'm doing a quick search on Next Men.
Yeah, so am I.
All right, so he's got the 1992 run, the 2010 run, 2012 run at IDW. So God only knows with that man.
Yeah.
Oh, John Byrne. So, speaking of which. So, people who revolutionized comics, who did you personally find revolutionary?
Who did I find revolutionary in terms of comic books?
Yes.
Keith Geffen.
Okay. Like as soon as you started reading Justice League International or Justice League America.
Well, even back with his with his Legion stuff. But when he just came in, the Levitz kind of era of Legion is, like I said, it's a little bit of that soap opera, but also just space opera, just all of that kind of folded together. And then, you get to that kind of 5 years later kind of run with Geffen, that it's just like, it's a little more adult feeling. It's a little more, like almost like nighttime soap opera, but it still has those elements, but it just felt a little, just like I said, a little more grown up. Like the characters had grown up and I'd grown up with them, so it kind of really felt that way. But yeah, then when he got to Justice League International and then America and Europe and all of that, and he was taking these characters, and making them really multi-dimensional. They were funny, yes, but they were also serious and had serious problems, and they had heart, and they had purpose, and I just thought he really just kind of changed the game. He opened the doors for a lot of people to be able to go in different directions. Certainly, Peter David's X Factor does not happen if Keith Geffen hadn't already shown that an audience was there for that kind of storytelling, right? I'm certainly never getting where are you? Where are you? I'm definitely never getting Tom Pyre's Hour Man if Keith Giffen hadn't led the charge,
What a great and interesting series that was, and then of course abruptly ending. And Snapper Carr just became the custodian of Young Justice.
Yeah. Hour Man, a lot of people slept on that book. It didn't sell a whole lot. It's absolutely gorgeous early Rags Morales art. And the real standout is the colorist, John Cleese, who did a bunch of different stuff, but he just made that book beautiful to look at, right? But Tom Pyre, that book is the first book that I saw or I read that dealt with an adult mental health angle from a very real way. And it just blew my mind because it's like, this is an android. This is not a person. But these are very real mental health issues that we're seeing addressed throughout this book, through all the different characters. But even especially Tyler, the android, And I just thought, this is just really clever, but not like winking at itself about these serious issues. It's being real about it, and I absolutely loved it. And I part of that could be my bias, between Tom Pyre is probably one of the nicest guys in the industry, but he's very creative and lets people be creative. That's why I like so much of the Ahoy Comics line that he's running now. It's just, he lets creators just kind of go where they want to go. And he just kind of tries to support them as best he can and let them make things. And if they don't sell, they don't sell, but they're going to do their best to keep them going. And that's the same way. That Hour Man book was fantastic. But for me, Keith Geffen was a revolutionary in terms of changing the game, at least for me as a reader. Mark Waid, I think he's not he's a different type of writer. I don't see him and go, he's a revolutionary. He's done an immense amount of great work, but I see him as a historian. He's a historian of comics.
What's funny? I do see him as revolutionary because I really feel that, how there's always that one book that comes along, everybody is awed, and it makes a shift in the comics.
Sure.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, sure. But that was Alex's idea to start with.
Listen, it may be Alex's idea, and Alex's fabulous art contributes to that. But still, this man is the one who's like, yeah, let's put Wonder Woman in armor and give her a sword made of split atoms. Oh
yeah, I mean, it's genius, like I said, but it's also, he's a historian. It's very historical. I don't think he revolutionized anything. I think he played on the history that was already there. He didn't bring anything. He didn't do anything different with the genre. He just told an amazing story with the tools and the history that was already there, and then created a history into the future. You're not gonna get me to say anything bad about Mark Waid. He's probably longevity wise my favorite writer. I have his entire Flash run over there. I have Kingdom Come changed the game. I have pretty much probably most everything he's done, even some of his Marvel stuff. So I agree with you. When I say revolutionary, I'm thinking of somebody that just kind of did something different to kind of change, the way things are accepted or done within.
And for me, revolutionary means that you're part of a shift, and unfortunately, the shift that he created, I don't care for, which is people wanting Wonder Woman with a sword all the time, thanks to him, and he's
he wasn't the first to do that. It was right. I mean, she had a sword before that, before Kingdom Come.
No,
come on,
not a sword forged by Hephaestus, made of split atoms, and her
maybe
and
not
her
all
armor,
that, but she had a sword before then.
A regular sword, but not this thing.
Sword of Athena. What's the first appearance of the Sword of Athena? Is that in it? Or is that just from the movies?
I think that's from the movies. Yep, It's from the movies. The Sword of Athena is from the movies.
Facts about Wonder Woman's sword and shield. Wonder Woman hasn't always had a shield. That's right.
Yep.
Some incarnations of her sword were forged by Hephaestus.
Hephaestus, yes.
Yes, that is true.
What's up, Black Spider?
Tell us when that started. Her arsenal grew more after Crisis. Yeah, see, Perez started her use with weapons.
Oh, really? Tell me how you
recall your background music. Does that just come with StreamYard, or is that?
Yes. I incorporated it. Yes.
The music?
Yeah. You like it, or is it throwing you off?
Yeah,
it's got a tone.
Kind of do. No, it's not. It's like some of them can be annoying. That it's like, all right, I've been hearing this for a long time, but it's not. It's just kind of there, and I dig it.
Yeah, this one didn't come from StreamYard. This is one of the freebies. This is one of the freebies I downloaded.
You're right then.
Yeah, it's Mark Waid. And you want to know who I had this conversation with?
I'm gonna Legion of Comics.
No, me and Phil Jimenez walking to Phil Jimenez's table and bumping into Mark Waid and having this talk. It was wonderful.
I love me some Phil Jimenez. I love him. I mean, he's the closest thing to Perez that we've ever had, that we'll ever have. And he's
so funny. He is so inspired by Perez. So inspired. And
you follow him on Instagram?
Honey, sweetie, sugar pie. I have everything but his personal cell number.
He is ripped.
Yeah, he is.
And I don't he's older than me, I think.
Yeah, probably. He's a little older than me, yes.
I'm like,
and he is jacked, man. He is
jacked. I like that guy.
Yeah. No, he's great. And he's turned into the I don't know. He's turned into the trucker dad. I don't know. He's always wanted to be. I don't know. It's fantastic.
The Tempest miniseries that he did is one. I absolutely love it, and it's beautiful. Like I said, it's beautiful, and that was like one of the first time he kind of jumped into writing as well, and it's great. It's really well done.
I am impressed.
I like that guy a lot.
George Perez Wonder Woman looks beautiful, but it's too wordy. It took a long time for action, a lot of plot lines. Yes, and they were wonderful. That man could tell an epic in 3 issues. 3 issues.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of it, and some of the things lend itself to that. Like you have to have a lot of
exposition. Yes.
Thank you, exposition. I feel that like with at least the first issue of this New Gods book, I was like, man, this is a very wordy book, but they were all important to kind of the world building startup of that whole thing. You know, I was like, man, the letterer had to be like, well, where the F am I going to put all of these balloons, you know, to get all of these words in here? But, so I thought that was a beefy script, but it all worked well, and it was meant.
If you look at Phil Jimenez's run, his run is very wordy.
Yeah, this miniseries is very verbose. It has quite a bit going on, and it's like, hey man, don't overdo it. I want to see all that beautiful art.
Yeah. No, he just phenomenal. I love his run on Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Perez. Right. I thought Perez's Wonder Woman is solid too. I mean, that's
not only do I love Perez's Wonder Woman, but George saw Phil and said, "Hey, I just finished your Wonder Woman run. I love what you did for the Amazons. What a wonderful continuation for them."
Nice.
Wow. You know,
that's
and Phil was like, "Oh my god, I almost cried." You know.
That's great. Perez was such a gem, you know, just a good dude.
He really was. And Phil
big supporter.
Phil took insane amounts of crap for his Wonder Woman run. Like, people were so racist with Trevor Barnes, you know. They were like, and then of course, Simonson did the next short saga, right, where Wonder Woman didn't remember her or who she was, and her hair was cut. And that's the last time we see Trevor Barnes. Then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? Even though I literally just spent months telling you I'm your ride or die,
right.
This event was too much. I realized I can't be part of your world, you know? And I was like, you know what, DC? Like, we can't give in. We can't give in. All right. Let's shift gears up here.
Yeah, right on.
Let's go to my next favorite thing. So my latest Bussy Buster just arrived, and I debuted it over on Anachronic, so it's not going to be too much of a surprise for everybody. But Amazing Spider-Man 388.
Oh, nice.
Where we find out. But I love the CBCS label. Love it. Can't stop talking about it. But also, where we find that Peter and Peter's parents that have returned from the dead are like little decoys.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I'm digging the new CBCS as well. That layout looks nice. It looks really nice with that book too, with that blue border around the book.
Yes.
And then it just plays well with the way that, I don't know. I like that. I
love it. I love it. I love it.
Who did that cover?
This cover is Bagley and Randy Eberling.
Yeah, that looks like Bagley. I like that though. That's really, like I said, with the blue border and the blue of the Spider-Man, it just works well with that label setup with this kind of the shininess of the CBCS banner there. That looks fire. I like that.
No. So people are waiting for PSA, and I'm like, screw PSA. I was like, I'm going right back to CBCS. Now, mind you, I do know the whole X-Men 1 story, and yes, let's keep one eye open, all right?
Sure,
but overall, I'm like, I'm down. I'm like, let's do more. And they were very good to me for Comic String Cancer. Very good to me. So that scored bonus points.
Nice.
Absolute bonus points.
What was that? Are you gonna show more?
Nope, that's it. One Bussy Buster.
What was that Swamp Thing book that creeped up there for a second though?
Swamp Thing 32?
Is that what that was?
Yes. This is part of the it's part of the Alan Moore story. And this has Walt Kelly's Pogo the possum tribute in this issue.
That's cool.
And again,
I just saw you move it up real quick, and I was like, "Hey, don't be showing off a DC book and then disappearing on me."
Jesus Brooklyn.
That's cool. I just was curious.
35. Well, it's funny. I have 32, and I also have 31.
Oh, that's a nice looking cover too.
Yo, there are no bad Swamp Thing covers from this series.
True. That's true.
There are no bad Swamp Thing covers from this series or the series before it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's on
I am in love.
That's on my like 2025 hunt book. Is one of those. Is the first Justice League Dark. The Swamp
Well,
Thing
get it. By the way, I refuse to acknowledge that. Refuse. Okay? They don't call themselves Justice League Dark. It happens to feature people who would eventually become Justice League Dark. There are other people in there too. And do you know what people forget about that issue? The most important thing about that issue?
Well, no, but I'm hoping you're going to tell me.
Zatara the magician, father to Zatanna. He dies.
Yeah. I think that's probably why it's a key. More so, because like I said, but yeah.
No, that's the reason it should be a key. And people should remember, Zatara first appeared in what book? Action Comics #1.
Oh, yeah.
So for every year Superman gets older, so does Zatara.
Damn, Clip, you're just going to make it harder for me to get that book if you keep going on these rants. People are going to be like, oh, that's important. I should get that. And I'm not going to be able to find it now.
Action Comics #1?
No. The Swamp Thing annual.
Oh, yeah. No, but people are dumbasses. Like, it's like no, dude. No.
He said people are dumbasses.
No, please. Look at this. Some video game comes out. Okay, Jeff the Shark is super fucking cute, so I completely understand Jeff the Shark, right? But all this other shit, like, ooh, I need this and that. And I was like, you didn't give a shit last week. Who are you people? Who are you? I'm like, you motherfuckers weren't there for Luna Snow. My fucking ass was there for Luna Snow. Me. I was there. I was there for Luna Snow.
Yes, you were.
I was. Look at me. I was there. I was there for her.
That's Agents of Atlas #1.
Absolutely, yes.
I had the second print of that.
Silver Surfer 2.
I had the second print of that Agent of Atlas book. That was just the single character. I can't remember the character's name, but it was, I think it was Inyuk Lee. But I won it. I want to say I won it from DJ. It could have been, or it could have been from, I think I won it from DJ. I won it off of some kind of thing he did.
Was it the one with Just Luna Snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was done by Comic Mint.
But it was the Virgin.
Yeah, the Virgin was done by, that Luna Snow was done by Comic Mint.
But who was the artist?
The artist is Ji-Hung Lee. Yes.
Yeah. I won that in a 9.8, and I didn't collect any of that, and I didn't know any of that, so I wound up selling it for like $100. I was like,
but it's Ji-Hung Lee. Ji-Hung Lee. Yes.
It's a gorgeous cover.
Yes.
But I had that too at one point, but I got rid of it. Should have held on to it, dang it.
Yo, his like hand drawing stuff is amazing. Like on his Instagram, he did a Wonder Woman commission, and it is phenomenal.
I will have to check that out.
We're checking it out right now.
Okay. Oh wow!
Right? 11 by 17. 11 by 17.
Look at that big ass sword.
With that big ass sword that comes out of her bag of holding. How can Cliff not pick up a Cliff comic book? That's funny.
Is there a Cliff comic book?
No, but the way he said that, you know, that's pretty funny. How could I not pick up a Cliff comic book? Oh, wait, hold on. While we're at it, is this the one you have?
Yeah, except for it didn't have the trade dress.
There you go.
Yeah, that was just that.
All right, so this one was a 1 in 25 variant, and it's by Greg Pak.
So that's Greg Pak there?
That's Greg. Yeah, let's see. Variant cover. Oh, no, sorry. Written by Greg Pak. I'm an idiot. Art by Gang Hyuk Lim. Cover by Ji Hyung Lee. All right, cover by Ji Hyung Lee. And then the Comic Mint one is also by Ji Hyung Lee.
Oh, that one's nice too.
Right? So surprise, surprise.
That's cool stuff.
And then there's this other one that I don't recall ever seeing. And this variant cover is by Sabine Rich. So look at that. We're learning something new every day, folks.
Learning it.
So yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I want to bring up two before I go into the next thing. I want to bring up two ridiculous Legion of Superhero origins. Okay?
Okay.
One of them is Supergirl joins the Legion, which of course in that issue we meet Triplicate Girl, Phantom Girl, Brainiac 5, Bouncing Boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the other is Starboy meets Superboy, right?
Yep.
Now I've read them both, and I want to know you've read both stories, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I want to know which one do you think is more ridiculous? Okay.
More ridiculous? I think probably the Starboy.
Okay, but let's review. Okay, Starboy is from another world, right? Comes to Earth to find Superboy, all right, with his special spaceship. Tells him, "Hey, I'm a hero on my world. I've been to the future and joined the Legion of Superheroes myself, and I would like you to come and visit my planet." Right? Lana Lang overhears part of the conversation. Says, "I know your secret identity, and I will expose it unless you help me make Superboy jealous." Right? And they go back to Superboy's world to try and make Superboy jealous. Yeah. But Superboy has super hearing because you dumbass Lana is super hearing. He knows what Lana's doing, so he ignores her the whole time and starts hanging out with Starboy's girlfriend, which makes Lana absolutely insane with jealousy. So that's the majority of the episode, of the issue. Then Supergirl 267. Supergirl feels lonely and she can't relate to her friends as Linda leave at the orphanage. And then Saturn Girl in a lead mask and two other flying girls, Triplicate Girl and Phantom Girl, show her, say, "Supergirl, Linda, we're your super girlfriends." And she's like, "Oh my goodness." And she, and then Saturn Girl has to take off the mask, even though she's wearing the Saturn Girl costume, for Supergirl to go, "Oh, it's Saturn Girl. I met you last year when I tried to join the Legion, and Red Kryptonite aged me up and prevented me from joining per your rules." Then they're like, "It's a year later, Supergirl, and we now take one boy and one girl. You've got to come," So they bring her ass to the future, where immediately she sees Brainiac 5, and she goes, no, he's the descendant of Brainiac, that trifling, evil, horrible monster. This can't be possible. And they're each given their challenges, including one where Supergirl has to do all this weird shit, travel through time, find ancient stuff. So when she time travels, she goes to Atlantis, goes and sees Lori Lemaris and Lori's little brother, who has a crush on Supergirl. He's like, Supergirl, I'm your boyfriend. I miss you ever so much. Please come back and visit. And she's like, oh, of course. Bullshit. Then she goes to the future, wins her honorary Legion membership, and then like, no, peace out, boys. And Brainiac 5 is like, oh, I'm gonna be your boyfriend, and she goes, oh, and then it's Linda Lee in the past. She goes, oh, if only I could relate these girls and let them know that I have 2 boyfriends, one in the future and one under the sea. And I'm like, what in the fuck? So I do, based on what I've just described, I'm pretty sure Supergirl is more ridiculous. What do you think?
Yeah, I just don't see it as a I don't see it as Legion connected as I do see it as Superboy in his world. So I see, but I see what you're saying. It's definitely, it's actually hilarious and more messed up having you explain it than it is actually reading it. Because
but
you're adding a lot more nuance to it.
Yeah, I'm reading that shit as an old man, and I'm like, wow.
That's that soap opera I was talking about, but
no, this is beyond soap opera. I was like, yo, I picked up adventure comics. I did not pick up young teenagers in love. And that's the other thing. Both of them have this wild young teenagers in love bullshit going on. Like, what is this? I was like, oh my God, the Comics Authority is monstrous. Monstrous.
100%.
Just unbelievable. So I just had to share that.
They missed this.
Boy, you are digging
100%.
Around. I love it.
I'm with you. You've changed. You've turned me around. Yeah, because I'm trying to find a book that I wanted, and it's all out of whack. Because I'll tell you what happened. I pulled a book out ages ago that was important to me, and did it on the 1011 over on Gary B's channel. But that was like over a year and a half ago. And I don't know where I put it, and I know it's around here somewhere, but it's not in my Legion stuff where it should be.
Ooh.
And so I'm upset with myself. Oh, no, here it is. I found it. It is where it was supposed to be. I should have looked there first. It's going to come back around.
Definitely always.
In my 5, it's going to come back around to the Legion. So,
all right, it's so funny. You're like, yeah, we'll come back.
I'm a Starboy fan, though.
I expect as much.
Well, my 5 will go all over the place just because. Like I said, I'm unprepared and unorganized, but
that's okay. I'm
a Starboy. I'm a Starboy fan.
Oh, I do love Starboy and Tom Kaler. Come on, man. Come on. I'm all about it. All about it. All right. We're going to switch over to my little favorite section. Now that I'm mentally there. It's time to play.
I don't know what
Rated
this
or
is, so I apologize.
So you tell me if we're going to rate it or we're going to... You're just going to tell me if we rate it or hate it. And if we're going to rate it, we rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. Where 1 leans hard into, yeah, this is for somebody out there. And 5 leans into you like, yeah, this is like a must-have. Like, this is great for your collection. It's a great investment. It's amazing. You know?
Oh, gotcha.
Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I don't have to pick it, right? You're gonna pick something.
No. This list is brought to us by Cover Price. This is the Cover Price Top 10 3 years later from January of 2022. Let's see what we were being told to collect back then. Number 1, or number 10 on the list. Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, number 1. Those numbers are tanking, but apparently this was a really big deal. The whole idea of Elektra showing up was hot. You know, Daredevil getting a series, hot. And obviously a lot of that fizzled. So rated or hated, Sarah?
And we got 10 of these?
We got 10 of them.
Yeah. I'll rate it. I've never read it, so I don't know. But I would say if I rate it, it's going to be down pretty low, like a 2. Just because exactly. I'm not like a Daredevil, like in general. Like I love the Miller Daredevil, and Jim has all of those, and we read through them so many times. But I've always found, I don't know, the whole Daredevil thing kind of ridiculous. Although I'm excited about the show coming back. I think the show's better than the book was for me. But I would give this I would rate this. I wouldn't say I hate it. I'd be curious to check it out, so I'd give it at least a 2. But I didn't check it out in 2022 when it came out.
I'm also going to give it a 2. Now this is the 1 in 50, right? So I guess we give it a little bonus for that. But I read the
beautiful color.
Yeah, I read the main book. The main book was good. I'm gonna give it a 2 just because this is like 2 because like I was a decent read, and also this is a collectible for somebody, and also it looks like you can pick it up for pennies on the dollar. So why not?
Yeah.
All right. Next up, number 9 on the list, and you might be surprised why this is here. Amazing Fantasy number 10 in 2005. Now, this book picked up interest because of Vampire by Night. And Nina Price or Nina Pierce, she is the cousin she's Jack's cousin. She's the cousin of Werewolf by Night. And she is Vampire by Night. So this book picked up some momentum based off the Werewolf by Night, made for Disney Plus movie.
Which I'm not a big horror guy or monster guy, but that Werewolf by Night special was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
It was great.
Yeah,
it might be the best thing Marvel's done in ages.
And so he's Werewolf by Night, and she is Vampire by Night.
Yes,
and that's his sister. Is that what you said?
Cousin.
All right, I'm gonna say rate it, and hang on.
Is John actually drinking a cocktail? Fucking cheater. Sorry.
That's not just being an a-hole. He's laying on the horn. No, I'm not drinking a cocktail, Taylor. I'm drinking a delicious coffee. It's 1 part water, 1 part coffee. And that's it. So I'm going to say rate it, and I'm going to say I would give this like a 3 because of my curiosity about Werewolf by Night, and then his cousin being a vampire gives me Twilight vibes.
Indeed.
I'd say rate it. I wouldn't hate it. This would be a curiosity pick for me. Just because I'd be interested in learning about it. It's not anything I read or picked up. And that Scorpion character next to her looks kind of intriguing as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, so that Scorpion character, this is so weird. This is such a 2005 is such a weird time. Like this is a Marvel Next book, so it was like supposed to be introducing characters that we would see more of. But yes, out of curiosity, I'm giving this a 2 out of 5. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Look at this. Vampire Night will be a thing. I'm in on that book. There you go. All right, next up, we've got Darth Vader #3, the first appearance of Dr. Aphra and her killer droids.
Yeah, I remember that was a big deal.
Yes.
Dr. Aphra was a big deal when that came out. I'm sorry, Cliff. I'm terrible at this. Like I told you, I'm a poor guest. I don't think I've read a Star Wars book since the first one came out ages ago. So I don't know anything about this, and I hate to say hate it, but I just wouldn't be interested in seeing it. So I wouldn't pick it up or care that it's dropped in price. So I'm gonna say hate it for me. Although,
all right, I'm gonna quickly say it is a 5. Prices are low. Go buy one now for pennies on the dollar.
Oh, you like it?
If this bitch ever comes to the screen, it's gonna skyrocket right back up to $600-700. Well, go get it now.
That's true. That's true.
Look at Dave. Look at Dave. I have 4 graded 9/8 of this waiting for her and the droids to arrive. She is great. I'm telling you, if she hits the television or the theater, it is going to blow up. And it's very well written. Her series is very well written. She's a really fun character.
All right. Dave's going to be rich.
Yeah. If he's not already.
Well, I feel bad for saying hate it, but it's just strictly out of my own ignorance.
That's okay. Next up, Death of Doctor Strange, Bloodstone #1. Again, the only reason this book picked up traction was because of her appearance in the Werewolf by Night special.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
And rated or hated.
Are these all going to be Marvel books?
We're going to see, my friend. We're going to see.
Damn you, cover price.
Listen, this is what was hot in 2022. Unfortunately, for both of us, I would have loved to have seen some DC.
Yeah, right on. I'd give this. I'd do this a rate it as a 3, just because again the curiosity factor. I don't think they will, but I was hoping they'd do more of that Werewolf by Night, the TV thing. The little TV movie. I thought it was really well done, but I think the guy who did it wanted to do a one-off and be done with it and be done with Marvel. But
and that guy's a composer. This was his first time directing. That guy was a composer. Beautiful. And did you see
he had that genre feel down though. He nailed it, like with the black and white and just the set design and just even the shots the way he did the shots were very throwback. It was, like I said, I really liked it. The story was great, and the nostalgia feel to it was really well done. And so I'd be curious in learning more about this character. This is not the original. This is not the original Bloodstone, right? This is
the daughter. It's Elsa.
Yeah. See, and so I'd say 3, just because I'm curious, and I'm hoping there'll be more to maybe make this book pop back up.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1. I'm sure it's for somebody, and get it while it's cheap. It's just not necessarily for me.
Yeah.
Next up, Timeless #1, the first cover appearance of Miss Minutes. She's a Variant by Humberto Ramos, and of course Loki brought her to fame and acclaim, and here we are with her plummeted prices. Rate it or hate it.
I can't hate it because it's just because of the Humberto Ramos. I absolutely adore that guy's work. But I was like on the wrong side of the Loki series. It just did not work for me at all. I thought it was boring. I thought if you're going to have a show with that actor, you got to make it more exciting and more just wild than it was. It just didn't work for me. So I have no interest in this book whatsoever. But I think we'll probably see more of the, what is it, the Time Variant Authority or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the TVA, they have their own series right now.
Yeah, we'll see more of them also in the MCU, I'm sure. So it's probably a smart move to get this because I think she'll pop back up, and might be a nice book to have at that cheap price of $15, and may go back up later. Who knows?
I'm quite certain. Or especially if you can get it slabbed real cheap.
Yeah. So I'll say rate it, and I'll say 4 just because I think it has potential.
I'm going to agree, and I'm going to go with a 4 as well. Also because I feel it has potential. All right. Next up, number 5. It's the same Bloodstone book, now the 1 in 10 design variant. Brad, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know. So are we just doing this based on the cover then? Because I didn't do a hate it on the last one, so I feel bad that I would say hate it. But unless it's Jose Luis doing it, I don't care about design covers at all. So I don't think this one is particularly good. It doesn't look that great to me. So I would say, based on the cover, I would say I hate it. But the character itself and the potential of the character, I am interested in. So
I'm down. Yeah, it does nothing for me. Like a 1. It's for somebody. It's a 1. Yeah. Next up, oh my goodness, I have so many words. Star Wars number 20. All right, from 2016. All right, there was so much hype around this character, right? It's Black Chrysanthemum, right? And he gets a scar from Obi-Wan, and this issue is the big reveal. And people expected this to take place in the Obi-Wan miniseries or on Disney Plus, which of course it did not, and right into the gutter. Oh, Joe, I love you so much. I did not make a cocktail tonight. I really didn't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Joe, I'm having coffee because I'm an old man and I can't do cocktails. Otherwise, I'll be up pooping all night. So sorry to disappoint my brother. You are a legend when it comes to cocktails. I know this from hanging out with you.
David says DK is a great character, great book, sadly wasted. Yep, I would say that. Isn't this from Twin Peaks? Aww.
Is this? I was going to say this is a Wookiee, right? Not a gorilla.
Yes, it's a Wookiee. Yes.
Okay. I think he looks cool. I'm going to say rate it, and I'm going to put it at like a 1. It's for somebody, and they're always doing more Star Wars stuff, so he has the potential to maybe pop up later. I hate the idea that he would pop up as just this kind of background throwaway kind of deal. But yeah, I'd say like a 1, and that's a great price. A book from 2016. You can't go wrong with that. I have to look at it over. I keep looking over here. Sorry, but my big monitor is over here, and I want to be able to see it pretty well.
That's okay. I keep looking back and forth the two monitors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rate it a 3 This was something of Star Wars that I read that I really enjoyed, and great character. Man, 2016 feels like yesterday, and it's not. Ugh.
No, it's really not. I know.
All right, next up, same thing. 2015, Darth Vader #1. Yeah, 2022 was big time for Star Wars. They were really feeling it. They were really like, yeah, let's get in there, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Now, Darth Vader has been a consistent delivery from all the way up to like the last issue 50. Darth Vader has delivered solid, and I'm not that level of Star Wars fan, you know.
Right.
Maritza, welcome. So yes, sir. Rate it or hate it?
I'm just gonna say rate it because it's Darth Vader, man.
Yeah.
And he's classic. I'm gonna say a 3, and I think also I'm just gonna do it from a personal aspect because I think Jason Keith was doing the colors on all of these Darth Vader books when they started back then, and he's a Richmond boy, and so I like to support Richmond folks, a hometown fella. So I'm going to say rated at a 3.
I'm going to agree with you, just purely on the Darth Vader of it alone, and it's a solid series. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. All right, next one is more complicated.
Uh-oh.
It's the Thor #20 and it is from Marvel in 2022. It's the God of Hammers storyline, part 2. This is where we're actually introduced to the God of Hammers, which everyone thought was going to be a big deal. But surprise twist, at the end of this storyline, even though Thor has lost Mjolnir, he kills the God of Hammers for us not to hear from him again. So, but of course he reforges Mjolnir afterwards.
Yeah. I don't want to offend anyone, but it's Marvel and it's Thor, and I don't care. So I'll say hate it.
Okay, moving right along to the #1 spot.
Wait, what about you?
Yep, moving right along to the #1 spot. Death of Doctor Strange, Bloodstone #1, yet again, but this is the David Nakayama cover.
Yeah, it's a nice looking cover. I will say that.
As only he can deliver.
I like the hair too.
Yeah.
Man does nice hair.
Yes, he does. He really does.
Yeah. I'm gonna rate it at like a 4. Just because those prices, man, it's like that just feels like a steal at that price that they have listed there for a graded.
Yeah.
30. Come on now.
Anything graded for $30 is like it's cheaper than sending it out yourself.
Yeah, and that's some solid art. You got the barrel of those guns coming right at you. You can take that anywhere you want.
Yep.
You know,
I was gonna say, the barrel of those guns. I was like, are we talking about her chest? And like,
are we? So yeah, just on the cover alone, how beautiful it is, and that price, I say rate it 4. Get it, man. Get it while you can.
I'm also going to give it a 4, and I love me some David Nakayama. There's 2 David Nakayamas signed up above me behind my head.
Nice.
Actually, you can't really see them.
I believe you, though.
No.
You got all sorts of groovy stuff up on that wall.
Hold on. There they are. There goes Spider-Man, then David and David.
Right there.
So, very cool. And back to us. All right. That was rated or hated, folks.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you know what this means. It's time
We won.
It's time for your homework assignment.
Oh, right. That's just, like I said, right here, the stuff that's right here behind me. I gotta make sure I have 5.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Oh yeah, I think I'm all right. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. That's 4.
It says thank you.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. So what am I supposed to do? Just give you 5 books?
5 books, and hopefully there's some sort of theme to them.
Okay, cool.
That you then reveal to us.
We'll say yes. The theme, I mean, there's not really a deep theme to them. They're just. Do I tell you the theme?
No, you tell me the theme
Okay.
at the end.
All right. Oh, first up, I'm going to go with Chase number 1.
Wow.
Cameron Chase. I loved this series. I have the
DEO
whole
agent.
series. Yeah, and it was like the Hour Man book. I think I was, one of 6 people that were buying it when it came out, and it did not last.
Me too.
I love this book for a lot of reasons. It's a strong, believable female character that we got back in the early 90s, which wasn't happening, unless you were Wonder Woman or Birds of Prey. That wasn't really happening. They didn't introduce a whole lot of new female characters that got to be kind of the lead of a series, and she was really well done. And this D. Curtis Johnson, the guy who came up with the character and the whole premise of this book, and the DEO and all of that, he kind of did this book and then he just kind of disappeared. He went back to being a computer programmer and was like, I can make more money doing that. I don't think he liked how he was treated with this series and how things went, because they got him through and they were like, hey, do this DC 1 million tie-in, and then they were just like, okay, it's done, we're canceling the series. And he didn't get to wrap it up in any way like he wanted to. It was like, if they could have given him some kind of warning or something, he could have wrapped up the story in a tighter format so it had a kind of a resolution. But I love this book, and I love this character, and I wish we saw more of her, and I wish they did more with the DEO.
Well, we did see a lot more of the DEO, and then they are.
Yeah, not the way we want. Dun, 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 dun. The next one is up on your wall. I saw just a minute ago. You've got a nice graded copy. And this is, I love this book too. First appearance of Power Girl, and it's just again, this is I feel like a female character that they just didn't have a whole lot of understanding of what to do with her even back then, and she's been through so many iterations. One of the few missteps of the Giffen Justice League era, I think, was how they treated Power Girl in that book. That was one of my few critiques or complaints about that book, is that I felt like they mishandled that character, kind of just made her this raging witch, with PMS type of attitude.
Well, it turned out it was the Diet Coke.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought that was a little too, I don't know. I think the attempt was to kind of poke fun at those kind of misogynistic kind of attitudes, but I don't think it was successful. I think too many people just ran with it and were like, yeah, cool. That's that's accurate to who she is. And it's like, no, not really.
I'm very happy when they got around to, like, hey, Karen, you gotta stop drinking. You gotta start drinking decaf.
Yeah,
and tone it down.
Yeah,
But she was quite brazen in the pages of All-Star Comics. She's like, and I'm not my cousin. That's why I am Power Girl.
Yeah. And then they did the whole, they've gone back and forth on her origin so many times and all of that. It's just,
but she is still Kryptonian, as Clark said, in her own way.
Yeah. And let's see. Next up is going to be, I'm just going to do these all together.
Ooh.
Gonna be
Peter David Supergirl.
Peter David Supergirl, and we got a lot to be excited about with Supergirl coming up.
Woman of Tomorrow.
Woman of Tomorrow. That's #1, signed by Tom King. Got that signed at Baltimore by him, and then like a year later, however long ago it was they announced the movie coming out, he went to a comic shop up in DC, Third Eye Comics up in DC, and signed a bunch of them for them to give out to kind of celebrate the movie being announced. And they have a Third Eye Comics down here in Richmond, so they sent a bunch down. So I drove all the way across town, about 30 minutes, 40 minutes away, and to see if they had any, and they had like 10 of them. So they were like the first 10 people to get here can have one. So this is issue #4, also signed by Tom King. So I'm excited about that movie and what's going to happen with it. I like the casting that they've announced so far, and I love this story. So that's going to be like I guess 3 and 4 because it's in there. So
I mean, it's a phenomenal story.
Yes. And then the last one is gonna, if anything, I don't know. It's just basically the minor theme, I guess, to any of these that I threw together would just be female characters that have resonated with me. Yeah, that resonated with me. They kick ass, or they've had some kind of impact to how female characters are developed or come along in comics. And this last one is kind of more of a personal thing. This is Legion of Superheroes 272. And it's the interesting thing with this, or why it's kind of a personal favorite for me, is it's the first appearance of Nightwind, who was trying out. She was a part of the Legion Academy. Yep. I'd mentioned before, back kind of when I made some friends through the old comic book resources, I mentioned there was a guy that was here local that I wound up meeting and getting to be friends with. His name was Rob Harris. And in a long time ago, in the Amazing World of DC Comics magazine, issue #12, they had a create a character contest. And when he was young, he created this character and submitted it into the contest and wound up winning.
Wow.
And the idea, the winning entry was supposed to get their character was going to be in a DC comic. And he was 8 years old at the time when he created the character. And so they never did it. They never put the character in a comic. The character's name was Nightwing. Okay. And so years later, they finally take and say, hey, we're going to use this character. We're going to put her in the Legion. And they changed it. They said, we got to change her name to Nightwind, not Nightwing, because that's already in use. So character's name is Berta Harris, after him, Robert Harris. Her name was Roberta Harris. And so he unfortunately, probably about 10 years ago, passed away way too young due to leukemia. But he got to see his character in a book, and he was, like I said, the biggest Legion fan I ever met. My older son has 3 of the original DC archives of the first 3 volumes of the Legion that Rob got for him when he was probably, I don't know, we met at a comic book shop and had lunch, and then went to the comic book shop, and my son was with me. I think was 2 at the time. He's maybe 3, I don't know, but he's late 20s now. And before we left the comic book shop, Rob bought these 3 hardcover archives of the first 3 volumes of Legion and gave them to me and said, these are for your son. I want to make sure he's getting good comics, not that crap you pick out.
Oh
He
my
was just
God.
giving me a hard time, but it was incredibly a sweet thing to do, a wonderful thing to do. And he created this character at 8 years old because he wanted to see more female characters that were, just kind of interesting and exciting. And, he was just a great guy. He was probably the first person in my Southern white Baptist upbringing, throughout my life, my first connected friend later in life that was an openly married gay male, that was just, kind of changed my perspective on things and made me have a connection to comics and to people in a different way. He just was a wonderful, wonderful person. And I just love this book so much just because
of evolve.
100%. I don't want to be preachy. I mean, I'm just saying from my own perspective of the bubble I grew up in, there were certain things that we were taught and were supposed to believe and so forth. And I firmly believe that meeting so many different people, even if it was just online and through comics, helped me evolve and change as a person and have a different, at least be open to different perspectives and different types of people and different, that we're all just, I don't know. It's a very special book to me just because of that connection with him, that he was just such a great person. And it was just like 2 weeks ago was the anniversary of his passing. There's a group of us that were on the old comic book resources boards that still stay in touch. We're all still friends, that we kind of nicknamed ourselves the Pantheon because we were all the original members that were on the Kingdom Come message board that originally started before it became Comic Book Resources. We're the group of kind of people that all worked on the Women in Refrigerator site with Gail Simone through that site. And Rob was a part of that. And he was, like I said, just a fantastic guy. And he, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I think was like the anniversary of his passing. So it's been on my mind, fairly recently. So I always want to bring that book up when I can, just to keep him out there.
Well, I gotta tell you, did not know the origin of Nightwind. I'm familiar with her and Comic Queen and Lamprey and the whole Legion Academy. Mm-hmm. Did not know this all started with an 8-year-old who won a contest. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And all the beautiful friends you made along the way thanks to the Legion of Superheroes.
It's 100%. I mean, comics, and like even now, I mean, I'm still doing that. I got to, because of comic books, I got to meet you, Cliff. I got to meet so many people, and that's my favorite thing, is just meeting new people and connecting and making, because as bad as the internet can be, it's made the world smaller and it's made the world bigger, right? And it's made the world smaller in that we get to meet different people and new people and find commonalities and be able to connect. That's my favorite thing about comics. When I was a kid, comics wasn't the cool thing to be doing, It's like, now we run the world, man. So,
well,
that's it. That's my 5.
We almost run the theaters.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So that's my 5. Wasn't a big theme to it, just female characters that I dig.
Female characters always counts. Always counts. I appreciate it.
Well, right on.
Sorry, I had to do the closure.
Yeah, right on.
And I love the Legion.
That was beautiful.
That was so great.
Yeah, man. You got to keep that thread going in there. I'd have had a bunch of other stuff. I'd have had, if all my Titans books weren't up with Jim in Maryland, you'd have seen some of those. But he's got all the goodies. I can only imagine
I was really happy.
That episode you had with John, y'all kept going through. There were so many great Avengers books y'all kept bringing up. I was like, oh, that's a Jim's. Oh, that's a Jim's.
Right. And and by the way, you notice I brought up a whole bunch that John didn't even recognize. Like he was just like, he's like, I'm not familiar with like this Mantis storyline. I'm like, yeah. It turned out she's the daughter of one of the members. It's like a whole thing. She's the Celestial Madonna. The trade paperback is called Celestial Madonna.
Yeah. And the thing I love about John is like he probably wrote that down. I don't know, he was a little tipsy. But
he might have made a note. He might have made a note.
Yeah. And he'd go out and look for that because you sparked a curiosity. And he's always
the Private War of Dr. Doom, the Korvac saga. Like those are just some of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
Especially Korvac, because all sorts of shit is going on, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are there. The Guardians I grew up with. Not that I have anything against Star-Lord, I get it, but the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but those originals, they were just so quirky and wild, man. They were like, like a lot of stuff during that era. They were just hard not to dig, It's like, who's that?
I was gonna say, you gotta dig it. What one dude was born on Jupiter, and it made Charlie 27 was born on Jupiter, made them all stout and super strong, And Beast
Charlie 27. Okay, why 27? Where's they did those little things that instantly made you curious. It's like, wait, well, even just the name, I got to find out more as to why. Just
Martinez. Are you literally a living crystal? Okay.
Just cool.
Starhawk, you and your wife were fused into a hawk god, and you have to share a space. Yeah. It's like taking the Hawkman mythology and the Dr. Occult mythology and blending it all together.
Throwing them together. Yep. Yeah. Good times.
So good. I love that series so much. So much. All right. There's no more comments left in the chat. Do you have anything you'd like to share, sir? As we
everybody to stop. No, just nothing to share. Just thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I always, like I said, I just was looking forward to just having the time to hang out with you. It seems like, and I don't want this, I want you to make sure you take this the right way, but it seems like every time I log on to my, YouTube, somebody's got something going on and there's Cliff's there. And that's not a bad thing in my opinion. I'd like to, I like to see you anytime I can. I think you add interesting perspectives and at the least excitement, and your joy for comics and people is clear. And I need more of that in my with the way my work life is. It's nice to be able to, it's nice to just be able to see and interact with someone that is honest and joyous and just like I said, authentic. And I appreciate you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Your openness about mental health and the importance of taking care of ourselves is much needed in this community, every community really. But I think the more people and the more we have being open and honest with each other about those struggles makes them kind of, less taboo or less scary in some ways, and that people don't have to feel like they have to hold on to everything themselves. So I admire you, Cliff. I appreciate you. And I thank you for letting me come on and hang out with you, buddy.
Aww. Letting you come on. I would love to have you. As soon as you said, why not me? I was like, of course, let's do this immediately.
Right on. Well, anytime I would, like I said, anytime I can hang out with you, I will do my best to make myself available.
I appreciate that. I gotta bring some game show magic back.
That was fun. That was a lot of work, though. I know that was a lot of work for you, but that was a lot of fun. That was kind of our first introduction, type of thing, and it was just a blast. But I know that's a lot of work getting all that together.
Yeah, it's the trivia, you know. It's the like I've got everything else like micromanage. It's the trivia and making it fit and making it look right,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the main doing that game show is the main reason that I have a second monitor. It's the reason I've got a second monitor.
You no way you could do that without a second monitor. That's just.
But by the way,
so much to manage.
The first time we did it, I didn't have a second monitor.
Oof.
I was brutally jumping between windows and saying stuff without being able to see anyone's face. It was crazy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You're a peach for doing it. It was a lot of fun, but I can also understand stepping back and saying, there's other content that I can do that's not quite so labor intensive.
Yeah, it's so funny because like this is my favorite thing, talking with collectors, talking with creators. I got to try and talk to more creators, but like talking to collectors and creators is just like my favorite thing. I love to know. First of all, I love to share the bond. So when people say, "Oh, this book made me feel X, Y, or Z," like I love that because I was like, "Oh, I felt that way when I read it too," and I felt that same fire inside when I read my first comic,
Yeah.
like, and like honestly, like the first comic I really read, like officially, truly read, like with like my whole heart in it, was Man of Steel #1.
Yeah, nice. And it's awesome that can continue, right? Like even as you get older, there's things that can still hit you or surprise you,
Do a power bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. Or Murder Falcon. Murder Falcon for me.
Yeah. Well,
we went to our first year. We went to our first Heroes Con, Jim and I, and Mark had sent him the trade paperback for Murder Falcon. And Jim brought it with him to Heroes Con, and that first Friday we were there, he gave it to me. He said, "You should check this book out." And we had been at the convention on Friday, and then that night in the hotel, I stayed up, I don't know how late, and just read the whole thing cover to cover. And the very next day, I was like, the first thing I'm doing is going to Daniel Warren Johnson's table and talking. I just had to tell him. And it's like, I'm sure he's heard all this book, but I just had to tell him how that book affected me because, it's like I said, things just still surprise you. Still.
I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not getting tired of it. I'm sure he's not tired of it.
Well, I hope not. But I got him to sign it, and he remarked it, and he was a super nice guy and super sweet guy. And Mark was like, more people need to see this book. And this was before he kind of got as big as he had. So I sent it to Circumstances. When I got home, I just boxed it up and mailed it to Circumstances for him to read. And I believe he sent it on to somebody else. So there's this book that has kind of affected all of us that we're slowly sending around to different people. If you haven't read it.
In the meantime, do a power bomb. DJ Link said it to me. I didn't get to read it right away. And then when I did, I was just rolling around in tears. I was like, "Oh my God, Daniel Warren Johnson. Oh my God."
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, I had taken a break from comics, and when I came back, is when the Golden Age came out, and I was like, "Who's this James Robinson guy?"
Oh my God, that was so good.
I love this. And then Starman is like probably my favorite book of all time. If I have to pick a single run, if somebody said, you get rid of all of your comics and you have one run of comics that you could read, I could read that over and over again, and I often do. I go through that run every couple of years and just start at the beginning and issue 0 and go all the way through, because it's just absolutely, it's just written so beautifully. So I love that this medium can still, surprise me and excite me, and even after all these years.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about comics, and that's what's cool about this community.
It is. And it's so funny. I was saying I love sharing that excitement, and you brought up the golden age. I'm like, ah!
Oh man, that's right here. I just got that back from my daughter-in-law. I've been giving her comics to read, and she's like, this is so wow. She rolled through it, and she was like, she said, I love it. It's, it's dark. It's but it's like real. And then she's a teacher, and she was like, it matches up to history in a lot of ways, and it's just really just well researched and beautiful, and so
impressively executed.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yes, indeed.
All right, John. Thank you so much for joining me. Everyone's already saying good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Everyone. Love to all of you. Until next time.